Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to add some motion to the platform that we made in the previous video. If you missed it, you can catch it here at Putting on the Fritz 3D Visualization on my YouTube channel. And if you like what you see and you watch some of the other videos, subscribe and like the video. All right, so again, what we're going to do is we're going to add some motion so that this platform will move back and forth. And right here, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and set it up so that this platform will move along the y-axis, since this is the long axis of this platform. We could also set it up to move along the z-axis if we wanted it to slide back and forth. And there's different ways that we can set it up and move it so that that will happen. Last time we also made the collider for this, so that should be a step closer for us in getting this to work. All right, and if you're coming in at this point and you have not, if you made a platform using the method I showed in the last video, but you didn't add colliders to it, take a look to see how to do that, because we're going to need the colliders so that, of course, the player can move across it. All right, let me get my head out of the way and go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to want to do is go back down here into our content drawer, content, into our blueprints. And here in, let's see, in our actors, we're going to go ahead and right click and we're going to add a new folder. We're going to call this platforms. Okay. Again, if you're making walls and things like that, you're not going to make a blueprint out of it probably. But you might. I don't know, you might want it to swing or move. You can also obviously apply this to any obstacle that you want to set up. So once we've got that done, we're going to go ahead and right click in here. We're going to right click inside or left click on the platform folder, right click, and we're going to go to blueprint class. And this is going to be another actor. Okay, so we're going to select the actor and we're going to call this BP underscore platform, I don't know, medium, and then maybe hole, something like that. So we know what it is. It's a medium-sized platform with a hole in it, okay? I'm going to go ahead and hit that enter, and I'm going to double click and open that up. All right, so the very first thing we need to do is we need to add a static mesh, put our platform on. So we're going to go ahead and up here under components, we're going to hit the plus button, scroll down until you see static mesh right here. Okay. Now we've got a static mesh. It's centered in there for us. Okay. And the next thing we want to do is go ahead and bring in our actual static mesh. So a couple different ways to get there. We can go to our content drawer. We can find it through this method. So if we go to our content into our models, and we can see that we have our platform right here, we could just hit the little arrow right here. We also, if we knew what it was called, we could down click and we could SM underscore type in platform until we find the ones that we want. And this is the one with the hole. Okay, and we've got it in there. There it is. All right, so that's the first step out of the way. If we take a look at it, we see that, again, it's oriented in the Y direction, and that's how we're going to set our blueprints up. If you wanted to make it so that it moves side to side, you would then orient everything into the X direction, or you can just kind of change and modify the blueprint just a little bit, and I'll show you where we can do that at. Okay, so that's in there. We don't need to add a collider to it because we've already added a collider to it back earlier in the last video. And I'm not going to use a box collider because this would cause some other issues for us. All right, so I think the first thing we want to do is we're going to go ahead and go to our event graph. And we're going to want this to start happening at the event begin play. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull out from there. And we're going to put a delay in just like we did with the Canon, okay? And in fact, you're going to recognize this blueprint to look an awful lot like what we did with our Canon. All right, and then we're also going to want to add a variable down here. And we're going to call this movement rate. And we're going to turn this movement rate into a float. And we're going to open the eyeball on it so that we can modify it inside of each of the individual platforms details so that we can have platforms moving at different speeds. All right, the next thing we need to do is we need to compile so we can set up our movement rates. And I'm going to give our movement rate a range from 0 to 10 as an example, but you can always come in and modify these to something different. All right. So again, 0 to 10 here. And right here, I'm just going to kind of select right in the middle for this one right now. I'm going to hit 5 for the movement rates. And we're going to pull this out. We're going to get our movement rates, and we're going to connect it up right here. The next thing we're going to do is off the completed, we're going to pull that off there. And we're going to get another timeline. Okay. And this timeline is going to be called platform movement. All right. And the same as before, because of the way we have this set up, we want this to play from start every time it comes through here. We don't want to pick up kind of in the middle. So I'm going to hold the control button, get my little fist there, left click and drag, and set that up on there. Okay. I'm going to double click and open that up. And we're just going to add a simple add float track right here at the very top. Okay. Very much like the coin again, or like the cannon again. I'm going to right click. We're going to add key. It's going to start at 0. Okay. It's going to have a value of 0. And up here at the very top, because we made our time to be 10 seconds, we're going to change this to 10 seconds. And I got ahead of myself, I see. So the length is going to be 10 up here. We're going to right click. We're going to rename this. And we're going to call this platform movement. I'm going to call this distance, really. Or, yeah, we're going to call it distance. Because that's really what's happening is we're going to move it. I was going to say in the Y direction, but if you decide you want your platform to move in different directions, you could use this same movement over and over again. All right, so we've got our first keyframe in here. We're going to right click and we're going to add another key in here. And we're going to put this one, since this is set for 10 right now, I'm going to put it in the middle. Okay, and we're going to set this at a value of, I want it to move a good little distance. So let's go ahead and put in like 400 just so you can kind of see. But again, you may end up making different platforms with different values in here so that you can have them move at different distances. And that's obviously something you're going to have to think about as a creator. We're going to right click. We're going to add another key. And this one is going to be at 10. And it's going to be at 0 for the value. So time is 10 value. And if I click in here and I hit F, it should look something like this. Okay, it should have kind of this little pyramid thing going on. And we're going to compile it and we're going to save it. Now we're going to jump back to the event graph. Just like with the cannon, we're going to go ahead and come back and we'll put the loop in this in just a second. We're going to need to create a new function. Okay, and that new function is going to be our move platform function. So right here, we're going to click on here and we're going to say move platform. Okay, we have this new function and we're going to select it right here. And what we need to do is we're going to add an input. Okay, it's going to be a float. And this is going to be, we're just going to call it move platform. Right. I know I was pretty specific before with the way we had the cannon set up, but that was because the cannon is moving in a specific direction. But because you can change the platform, we're going to kind of see that differently here. So now I'm going to pull off the output, and I want to get set relative. Okay, there we go. Set relative transform. Okay. And it's going to be of, oh, you know what? I didn't change the name of the static mesh, so that's why it just says static mesh here. Shame on me. So we want the transform, okay? We're going to change the transform. Well, you could also use location if we wanted to adjust location, but I think we'll just use the transform. Up here where it says static mesh, I'm going to double click there real quick and just type in platform. That way we know what it is. And it's changed it here so we know that's the platform. We're going to right click on the transform and we're going to split the struct, and then we're going to right click on the transform location And we're going to split that struct. And I'm going to drag this in. And I'm going to set this one on the Y location because that's the direction I want to move mine. But this is where you can come in and you can modify. If you wanted to move it back and forth on the X direction, you would just connect it to the X direction. Okay? All right, I'm going to go ahead and compile and save. And this also reminds me that I'm going to do another pickup video after this one to show you how you can, probably a better way to do your coins so that they actually move. All right, so now we've got that done. We've compiled it, and we're going to go ahead and save it. We're going to go back to our event graph, and pull out our move platform function. Okay, and we're going to go from update into here. Make sure it's update into the move platform, and we're going to take the move platform distance and put it into move platform. And what I'm going to do is, just like before, when it's finished, we want this one to actually run its course. We want the whole animation to happen before it goes back and resets. Okay, so we're going to go to finished, over to here. Okay, I'm going to double click on that one and move it up kind of like this so we can see it. Clean up our blueprints so we don't have things overlapping and we can see everything. I'm going to compile it, save it. I'm going to highlight this. I've been bad at doing this, I know. Hit C to comment it, and this is just going to be move platform. You can make it whatever color you want, but for the video, I'm not going to bother doing that right now. Compile it, save it, and now I'm going to go ahead and go back into my scene. Okay, I have this platform. It's not going to actually move, but I'm going to grab out from my content drawer, go to my content drawer, go to my blueprints, and find my actors and my platforms. I'm going to drag this one out into the scene. Okay. And its scale is much smaller because I was playing around with the scale on that one. So I'm going to match my scale here. Hit R on my keyboard. I'm going to scale it up. Scale it up. Try to get it to match close. A little bit bigger. And I'm not sure the direction I got the movement. Let's see here. If it's going in the Y direction, in a positive direction. Well, let's just see what happens. Close enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right. So let's go ahead and hit play real quick. Okay. And looks like I got it moving in the wrong direction. And it moves that far. All right, so go ahead and hit escape. I'm going to rotate it just so I don't have to think too hard. It would be kind of cool to have it move the other way, but I'll just rotate it 180. So that's the start point, and it moves that direction. All right, so now I'm going to hit play. And it's not perfectly lined up, but close enough. And now it moves out. Goes that direction and goes back, and then this is the delay that we have set into it. All right, okay, so that's how to get our platform moving, and so that we can have moving obstacles in our game now. Like I said, the next video I'm going to get a little bit more creative with our pickups. One of my students had asked if there was a way to get the coins to move, and yes there are, but the way that we built them last time makes it so that moving them is difficult with the collider that we have on it. So we're going to use a different method. So we're going to create a new coin. We don't have to create all the blueprints over again, and I'll show you how to copy and paste that. So that will be next time. Anyway, if you liked what you saw, go ahead and visit my channel, Putting on the Fritz 3D Visualization. Subscribe if you like it. Like the video. I'll see you next time.